tournament directors have felt a little intimidated by this software that runs on Soccer-tournament.us, and I thought it'd be worth going through some of the admin functions. People may look at those and think, oh my goodness, I need to understand all that, and you don't need to use most of them, but I will briefly touch on all of them. First of all, this is the basic tournament page. In the links, the game numbers here are all just text. You click on them, nothing happens. If you log in, I'm going to log in as Tournament Reporter first and hit that. This is what you see. Now, the green, I've reorganized this a little bit, but the green border indicates these are safe functions. You can play with these and you won't damage anything on the site. It doesn't really change anything. You just look at the site, the tournament, a little bit different. The most important one here is schedule results. It goes back to the main page, which you can also go to the division pages. But the important thing here is the game number is now a report link. If I click that, I can report scores. And that's the most important thing that most directors and additional people, if they want, will do. We just set the wild card here. Let's see. If you go back here, you will note that a reporter only has save, unplay, and cancel. Unplay will undo this game, and cancel will just go back. I'm going to log out here, click admin, log off. Now I've come down here and click admin again. This would bring up the login screen. I'm going to log in as tournament director this time. Now you see more stuff here. The red ones are restricted to tournament directors and can have a negative impact on the website if you don't know what you're doing. Most of them you don't need to use. We'll start off here with the export function. This is one of the very earliest functions, because in the very beginning of this software, people would report games and the export function would be used to download it to a computer where it would be processed. You basically get the schedule and the results. The results are over here in a format suitable for a spreadsheet. There's a .xls suffix there, although it just comes back as a tab file. You can also get standings, and here we see division, team ID, group ID, games, games played, win, loss, tie, points, goals for, against, differential, head-to-head, red card count, yellow card count, tiebreaker, and shootout. So, and these are sorted already. You can see here the 24 points in Group A is at the top, and then Group B we have 15, and Group C 12 for the leaders. I don't use that at all, but it's there if you want to play around with it. Back to the admin page, update groups. You don't need to use it all. What this does is it actually goes through and updates the group standings based on the game reports and the scores for all the divisions. This generally gets done automatically every time you report a game, so it's not necessary to do it explicitly, but it doesn't hurt to do it once in a while. And when I'm doing development, sometimes it does. I do use this. It doesn't hurt to use it. You don't need to use it. QR code, real simple. You can post this around your tournament site, and people can get to the website on their phone fairly easily. They can scan this and jump to the URL. Tournament review is a really neat function, but you don't need to use it. What it does is it brings up the tournament and shows it in a way that you can spot problems. And in this one, I have explicitly caused some problems, and you can see here that Springfield has 3 games in this day. The magenta game is the third one, blue one's the second, and so forth. The green one's the first of the day. This is Sunday and Saturday. I used the wrong date and year, so it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday rather than Friday and Saturday, but the idea is the same. And here we see the fields, and I'm going to split days, show all matches, change that to 75. Okay. And here on the girls' side, this Ontario here is playing 5 games in one day, and they're all jammed together here. This is something that probably wouldn't happen in a real tournament, but it does happen that sometimes you'll see these back to back or whatever. This shows the fields. These are Saturday fields, and it shows these games overlap. There's 50 minutes between the starts of those, and I gave it a 75-minute interval, which means the line is 75 and the height is 75, and that shows that this has to be moved out or something else. Something has to be done. If you go into the divisions, you will get the same top and middle parts, but the bottom part will show a opponent map. Now this map down at the bottom, it shows Springfield has 3 games and Butler has 1, so that's a problem. And you can see here that this game needs to go here. I just moved that on my own, but so that this would show up this way. But you can spot problems pretty quick. And that's that for that screen. You don't need to use this ever, but I recommend it. Okay, back to the admin page. The import edit TD is very important. It is also the most complicated part. It's not that complicated, but it is the most complicated. What that does is there's a text file here that represents the tournament. Shows the tournament name, the divisions, colors of the divisions, the locations, the colors of the locations, teams and their groups in both divisions, and then the schedule. And there's all sorts of ways to represent this schedule. This is the way I did this one. There's also, you can do diffs and save schedules and load old ones and so forth. But I'm not going to go in great detail on this, but it is how I do updates on tournaments. So it's something I would recommend looking at, but you don't need to use it. You can usually just say, hey, send me an email, I need this fixed, and I will use this to do it, usually pretty quickly. Like if you scroll down here and this game needed to be moved to 2 o'clock, I could just put 1400 and then hit use current, and tournament's updated. And let's see. Okay, import XML is a fairly new and experimental function. You can import a XML spreadsheet of .xml from the Microsoft 2003 XML file, or a open document flat XML, which is FODS. You don't need to know that, but it is useful if tournament directors use color-coded divisions. Export tournament Tourn definition exports the current tournament as a TD, and you can look at the different formats that are possible. This is using names. So you have names there. We have the division, the time, the field, the opponents, time, field, opponents. You can turn that off. You can put everything on a single line. And there we have everything on a, well, it didn't do that because we didn't have the single show each time. Okay, here we go. Time, field, opponents. And we've got this already grouped by division. If we come back here and do that by time, it'll show the division too. The U19B and G is just something that's not likely to happen as a team name or something, so it's useful for representing divisions. Let's see, and that's probably enough on that. You can play around with that and get a feel for what a tournament definition looks like. And back here, the generate TD is a very long, complicated, well, it does a lot, but it's not hard to use. But it allows you to build a tournament by answering questions on a series of pages. This tournament, which has 9 teams in one division and 6 in another, in 21 games with a wild card. If we go here, we have a wild card there. That was actually created in 6 minutes and 45 seconds. There is a video that shows building this tournament in 8 minutes and 43 seconds because I'm describing what I'm doing it while I do it. The total video is 14 minutes, just under 15 minutes, and it shows some game reports and stuff, although an older report page is used. Back to the admin page. Set criteria. This is important but rarely used, especially in recurring tournaments that happen year after year. It essentially, you set the criteria for your tournament. This is 10-point shutout point for winning team. You're going to have a shutout point for either team. That gives a shutout point for a 0-0 tie. This one doesn't. Points is always first. Head-to-head, max goal allowed, goal differential, goals for, and coin flip. And the checkbox here is whether it will show up or not in the standard standings. If we go back here, we will see that the standings do not show goals allowed because occasionally some team will have 20 or 30 in a tournament. It's not something that you want real prominent. Here it does show goals allowed. And here also it truncates to whatever limits you set. This was a 4-0 win, but it only goes 3 points to the goals for. There's 3 points here too. And let's see, back to the admin. Set SE consolation teams is not used very often. Conceptually, it's pretty straightforward, and it has been used on occasion. Essentially, what I have here is that we're far enough in the tournament that A1, B1, C1 have been defined. Well, all of these actually, but the semis and finals haven't been played, so the winners of these games haven't been defined. I can go in here and set C1 to any team. It's not used very often, but there have been times that it's been necessary, and it's done for each division. And you don't need to use it, don't need to understand it, but it's not that hard to use if you do encounter that situation. Let's see, DB maintenance. This is essentially the underlying database, and it shows the schedule in the game reports and so forth. You can restore these, and you can restore scores from them down here. And the events log shows all the game reports. And you can actually set a time here and get the database as it was at that instant that you specify. And then there's also team IDs here. That's not used very often because they don't change that much. But I use that. Most people won't need it. You can use it to take a snapshot of like the tournament after each day or something like that. Set colors is real straightforward. You can change the colors of the divisions. I'm going to pick some ugly ones here. And sometimes these don't show up right away, but there they just showed up. This went much deeper blue. This is a deep, hard to use red, and this is a little brighter. That should actually be yellow. Not sure I got that. Let's try it again. There we go. Okay, there. That's that. Now it's pretty easy to use too. You can either enter the hex code for the color, or just drag around until you get a color you like. And that's basically covers all the admin functions. The most important one is getting back to the main page and reporting scores, and this is used for setting up and maintaining the tournament. Tournament review is useful for spotting problems, and most of the other stuff you don't need. I would recommend looking at this when you set up a tournament because it does make it quick. So that's all for now. Thank you.